Okay, it is 1 o'clock and we're giving a public information meeting today for the Eisenhower Drive North and South roadway reconstruction. My name is Dustin Saylor. I'm the Director of Public Works and Utilities. And we'll see if we can get this to work here. So we have 6 presentation items today: introduction, project description, project funding, project timeline, traffic control, and specific construction concerns. So as introductions, again, my name is Dustin Saylor, Director of Public Works and Utilities. Our project manager for the city is Andrew Lund. He's going to be the primary contact for anybody in the industrial park that needs assistance or has concerns during construction. His contact information is there and will also be presented at the end of the presentation. Andrew Schowden with Fend & Brown is our contractor. His contact information is also provided there. But again, he would be the secondary point of contact. Andrew Lund will be our primary point of contact. And that just allows everybody to have a proper chain of understanding of what's going on the project. So kind of some of the ground rules or housekeeping for this meeting. I'll give this initial, and it's a brief presentation, and then we'll be taking questions at the end of the presentation. To provide comment, you'll click on, if you're attending via Zoom, the raise the hand option. If you're dialing in, you'll dial *9, and at that point, the attendant will let you in. So project description. So Eisenhower Drive North and South has not had any substantial road improvements for the past 20 years. With the constant truck traffic that's occurred, the road bed has become deteriorated. And then it takes us all the way down into the lower cross section of the pavement. In the recent years, we've done a couple chip and seals to try to extend the life of the road. But as many of you have probably noticed, every so often you'll have the where we're having that separation of the pavement all the way down into the lower road bed. Because of the constraints associated with the industrial park, project's broken up into 4 primary phases. The first phase of construction is reconstruction of the private railroad crossing. The city is taking on this work. It's been determined that the railroad ties have deteriorated, and we did not want to reconstruct the entire roadway and then leave that railroad crossing as a constant point of complaint. Again, this railroad is private, railroad spur is private. Historically, it's been the responsibility of the association. I understand the association is, not fully developed out there anymore, but we are going to go ahead and take care of this at this time. Once the railroad spur has been fully reconstructed, which means removing the ties and the rails and then rebuilding that, we'll move into phase 2, which will be full depth pavement removal. And this, we're going to be rebuilding the outside lane first. And once that's completed, we'll move into the inside lane. And then finally with phase 4, the pavement markings will be installed. I want to just let everybody understand how this project's being funded. The Goshen Redevelopment Commission is the funding source for this project. And so everybody's aware, they meet every Tuesday at 3 p.m. at the courtroom at 111 East Jefferson Street. Money that they have to participate with this project is developed through the Tax Increment Finance District. And the map below here on the left-hand side shows the area. So any new industrial commercial development within those boundaries helps generate new Tax Increment Finance District funds. And through the accumulation of those, we're able to fund this project. This project came in at a bid number of $1,787,000. So the timeline for this project, you'll be seeing construction notice signs being placed. We want to provide some advance notice for your employees, truck drivers, and anybody else associated with driving through this corridor. They'll be notifying you that the construction will be starting. Right now, we anticipate that traffic control will be set up in and around May 12th. And the first setup here will be for the railroad track reconstruction, and it's anticipated that'll last through May 26th. Once that work is done again, we'll move into that next phase with construction of the outside travel lane. That'll start in and around May 27th and run through June 28th. Once that's complete, we'll again move into the inside travel lane and run that from June 29th through July 30th. And then finally, pavement markings is a short duration and then completion in August. Now, right now, this is considered our worst case timeline. We're hoping to do better than this, but for right now, this gives us the most flexibility for everybody to understand what's at least anticipated. So I know we've talked about traffic control a little bit here, but I just want to make sure everybody fully understands what the traffic control plan is. Again, for the railroad track reconstruction, we'll be basically severing that north-south connection at the tracks. So anybody to the north will have to enter and leave out the north, and anybody to the south will have to enter and leave out the south side of the Eisenhower Drive loop. Once that's done, we will have that outside travel lane being reconstructed, and traffic will enter through Eisenhower Drive South, and then they will leave out Eisenhower Drive North unless they drop off on Messick, Industrial Park Drive, or 15th Street. Once the outside travel lane is complete, we will work on the inside travel lane. The reason why we're taking these steps is it's going to be awkward for drivers. Again, we're going to have drivers come in the south side, Eisenhower Drive South, and again, wrap around to Eisenhower Drive North. This is going to be strange for the drivers, so we want to get everybody used to driving normally on that inside lane first before we move them to that outside lane. And then finally, we anticipate that pavement markings will be done under traffic or limited traffic control. Kind of what to expect. So when we remove one lane of pavement, we'll definitely be severing that normal connection to driveways. And so there'll be temporary asphalt millings placed in the drive approaches for those businesses. And employees, unfortunately, should plan on some delays, especially at the peak work times. And encourage them to plan ahead. I think it's going to be very important that we're going to try to do our best out in the right of way, but as business owners and representatives, please try to encourage your employees to take that extra time and definitely be patient. Employers may want to consider staggered start and end schedules. I know that's probably a big ask, but I know at certain peak times that traffic is already congested out there. Transporters, your semis, I know frequently will stage out along the road. During this construction, they will not be able to do that. So if a transporter is coming in and they need assistance backing into a loading dock or something, please make accommodations for that. Mailbox locations will be switched on a temporary basis to accommodate the different traffic patterns during the different phases of construction. So the contractor will manage that. We're planning ahead here, is already decided to have a start time around 9 a.m. And they're doing this to help avoid morning traffic concerns, that they're not going to add additional construction traffic in that corridor. The city thinks that's a very positive option here. They still want to try to get this project done as quickly as possible. And so they will be looking at working later into the evening to get this work completed. Normally we have an earlier contract shutdown time, because this is an industrial area. We think it's probably better to get it done quicker, and we don't anticipate that the noise will be a concern. Again, I said this is going to be a brief presentation. We just kind of want to make sure everybody gets introduced, and then if anybody has some initial questions or comments, this presentation is being recorded. It will be placed on the engineering department's website for the city of Goshen. And again, if you have questions, please raise your hand via the hand button on the Zoom, or dial *9 if you're calling in. And again, our contact information is provided there. So this time I'll take questions.
I first have Brandy, who raised her hand first. I'll allow her.
Hi, Brandy.
Brandy, you are muted though, so you'll have to unmute first. There you go.
Hello. I have Lance and Jared here from Lippert Components that have a couple questions about semis.
Okay.
So I guess our question is, I mean, our loading docks are right on the edge of the roadway, so how are we to get our trucks in and out of there to load and unload with only one lane of travel?
Yeah, and like I said, we'll provide drive approaches for those, and probably when you're on one side or the other. But if you guys need some extra millings or something, we will try to accommodate that. There are going to be a couple times, so I don't know if you're able to stagger deliveries or products moving out, because we're actually cutting that base material out and putting new asphalt in. It'll be difficult for us to allow any traffic across that dividing line.
So current state, our trucks and trailers, in order to approach the docks backing up, actually have to cross both lanes of traffic.
Correct.
Align themselves. So as far as staggering, we're dependent on our customer delivery windows and those set receiving hours. So I don't know that staggering is necessarily a solution, but very, very concerned about how we're going to move product, and even more so how trucks are going to return effectively and be able to dock in order for reloads and additional turns to customers. So that would be the main concern I think Lance and I have.
Okay. Maybe specifically regarding this one, get a hold of Andrew Lund here, and maybe we can come out and have a specific site meeting with you. I know there's a couple that are going to be more challenging than others, but for flow of traffic, this is really the only way that we know of to keep the construction moving smoothly along through this corridor.
Yeah, what would be planned downtime if, we look at our Lippert facilities here on Eisenhower South at 1101 and at 1206 and even our glass plant down the road. What kind of planned downtime should we anticipate as far as the resurfacing or the repavement of this section of road?
Yeah, and just so you're aware too, the pavement section on this is pretty thick. So we're not talking about just a resurfacing. This is a full depth pavement replacement. So this takes us all the way back down to bare earth, and then we're building it back up. Andrew with Fenton Brown, would you have a better maybe response for this of how long you anticipate? I'm sorry, Andrew, I don't know if you're trying to speak or not. We have no audio.
Yeah.
We'll just get a hold of Andrew. We're gonna have to schedule a site meeting so we can.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most appropriate. So we appreciate you joining today. Do you have any other questions?
I don't. We'll just have to sort these out with Andrew and see what we come up with.
Okay, yep. We will definitely meet with you.
Thank you for answering our question.
Thank you so much.
Dustin, another question that was posted in the Q&A was, will you please repeat the timeline for the project?
Sure, let me just back up here.
Yeah.
So we're looking at starting the project on or around May 12th. And, right now completing by August 9th. Again, we're hoping to do better on that timeline than that schedule, but this is a conservative timeline right now.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And then we have another person, but it's by phone call. Let me ask them to unmute. There you are. Can you hear us?
Dustin, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear.
Okay. Sorry about that. As far as the timeline goes for going across individual.
Oh,
Is this Andrew?
Yes.
Okay, this is Andrew with Fend and Brown.
well, there we go.
Yep. No, as far as the timeline for crossing individual business approaches, it'll vary depending on the operation. But the way we have the work planned out, you're probably looking at, maybe a half hour for each driveway as we go across it, and then we're going to have to put millings or aggregate base back into place in order to allow access. But once we go past and get everything rebuilt, then it wouldn't be disturbed for the rest of the day.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew.
Sorry, I didn't realize he had joined by phone there. All right, there was another Q&A. They just want a copy of the presentation for them to share with their teams. I have asked for their email address, and then we will also have this posted on the engineering website underneath the ongoing projects. And
Yeah, we'll have both the presentation and then the recording will also be available if that's a benefit.
okay, and then there's no more raised hands. Okay, one more question that was just posted from Jamie. Is this just at the railroad crossing or along the whole Eisenhower loop?
Yeah, so this reconstruction includes the railroad crossing, but then all of Eisenhower Drive north and south, and we'll be reconstructing everything from Deerdorf around back to Deerdorf. So everything Deerdorf west on Eisenhower will be reconstructed. And then I'll just throw a mention out here. Later in the year, we also have a secondary paving project, not part of this specific project, that will repave, and this will just be a surface repave on Messick Drive.
And so far, that is all the questions that I have in.
Okay. Well, again, our contact information is on the screen, so please write that down. We'll also be making contact with businesses. We just want to make sure we gave this opportunity to let everybody better understand what the construction project coming is. And I guess from Goshen Engineering and the city's perspective, we appreciate redevelopment's assistance on this, because honestly, a reconstruction of a road at 1.7 million is hard to come by. So we definitely appreciate their participation, and please definitely reach out to us. So thank you, everybody.